At the start of the story, we see a man named Frank who worked as a civil servant. But due to his health problems, he was always in trouble. Because there was no one to take care of him in his life. Where suddenly one day his life changes. When he wins a lottery of 4.5 million euros, he was confused about where to use that money. So one day he goes to a club and starts watching a woman named Danila. He always liked her and watched her from afar. But today he gathers courage, approaches her, and asks about her daily earnings. Where Frank asks Daniela to stay with him not for one night but for a month. He will give her 100,000 euros in return. Such an amount was huge for Daniela, so she agrees. But before going with him, she sets some conditions that she doesn't want any fights or violence, she needs some money in advance, and Frank must treat her with respect. Frank agrees to all her conditions and then starts to take her with him. But as they were going to Frank's apartment, he starts feeling unwell on the stairs and collapses. Actually, Frank was a heart patient, and seeing Della made his heart race. Seeing this, Danila quickly calls a doctor, and when he checks Frank, he immediately understands what happened. After the doctor leaves, Frank and Danila are alone there. Della starts looking around Frank's apartment, which felt like home to her. Danila understood from all this that she had to take care of Frank's heart condition and that whatever happened between them would be slow and gentle. After which, on the couch, Danila starts to attract Frank towards her, and seeing her, Frank can't resist, and they become intimate for the first time. The next morning, when Frank opens his eyes, Daniela was not in bed. Actually, Daniela wanted to impress Frank, so she makes breakfast for him and then prepares him for work like a wife. Where Daniela knew Frank had a lot of money, so she starts to attract him again and tells him not to go to the office. But here, a fight breaks out between them, during which Frank's health starts to deteriorate again. Where this time he calls his family doctor, Andre. When Andre comes home and sees Daniela with Frank, he is stunned by her beauty. Because he had never seen any girl with Frank before, to control Frank's heart problem, Andre tells him that he should have less fun with Daniela, where he couldn't understand how Frank got a woman like Daniela, so he directly asks Daniela the truth, where she tells him that she is a woman of the night. But now she wants to start a new life with Frank, after which, while leaving, Andre tells Frank that he shouldn't waste his money on such a woman, but we see that after Daniela's arrival, Frank became quite happy, and his heart problem was under control. They were very happy together, where they went to the beach. They have a lot of fun together, and even Frank no longer has any trouble being on the internet. Everything was going well, where still Andre would come to Frank's house every day to check on him, and one day he tells him the truth that he is in love with a woman living in his neighborhood, who has cancer, and he is treating her. And he spends most of his time with her. That woman used to be a nurse and saved many patients' lives, where he wants to do the same for her. Here he tells Frank that Danila doesn't love you, she's just with you for your money, and when the money runs out, she'll leave too, after which late at night Frank calls Andre. Because Danila was feeling unwell and was vomiting repeatedly. Seeing this, Andre starts going there, and when he was saying goodbye to that nurse, we see that there was no one there, that nurse was just Andre's imagination, after which he goes to Frank's house and thoroughly examines Danila, but when he sees Danila without clothes, his heart starts racing. And there he dies, after which when Frank was at Andre's funeral, he learns from a man that the nurse he was talking about actually died 5 years ago, and he couldn't forget her, where until his last breath he kept her in his mind. Frank also started truly loving Daniela and was very happy with her, where his illness seemed to have disappeared seeing Frank so happy, his colleagues. I don't understand what the deal is, and seeing all this, Frank decides to tell them the truth. At night, he brings everyone to meet Daniela, but she wasn't there, and all her stuff was gone, meaning she had left him. All these things make Frank embarrassed in front of his college. He goes back to the same club at night where he had brought Daniela from. There, he sees Daniela has returned to her old job and was with a client. Seeing this, Frank's heart breaks, and he realizes Daniela was only with him under a contract and will never come back to him. Feeling hopeless, he goes to drink and starts telling a woman about his lottery. A street girl overhears him and quietly approaches Frank. The girl talks to Frank just like Daniela did at the beginning. She starts saying she feels a connection with him and plans to go out with Frank. The girl was more beautiful and much younger than Daniela. But Frank doesn't fall for her sweet talk because he only had feelings for Daniela. Before going with the girl, Frank goes to Daniela one last time and tells her he loves her deeply and she's the only one who can fill his loneliness. Hearing this, Daniela says she can't stay with him forever because there's someone else in her life, and she tells Frank to go with the girl because she's younger and can take better care of him. But Frank doesn't agree, and when he argues with Daniela, he starts feeling unwell. Seeing this, Daniela quickly calls a doctor from the club to check on Frank. Here, we also see Daniela's husband, who owns the club, and Daniela's partner threatens Frank, saying if he doesn't stay away from his wife, he'll kill him. After this, Daniela takes Frank home to ensure nothing happens to him on the way. After coming home, they start getting intimate again. Daniela was making a lot of noise, disturbing the woman living next door. She knocks on Frank's door and asks them to keep it down, because she couldn't do her work. Then Daniela comes there and starts getting angry at the woman. Seeing her, the woman tells Frank that she doesn't love him and will soon leave him. This thought stuck in Frank's mind, and when he asks Daniela for the truth, she has no answer but still tells him the truth that she doesn't love him but likes his caring behavior. Frank wanted to make Daniela his own, and for that, he would have to make a deal with Daniela's husband. Her husband had many women like Daniela, which kept his club running smoothly, but he pretends to be sad about Daniela leaving. He knew Frank had won the lottery, which Daniela must have told him, and maybe they both wanted to rob Frank together. After all, women like Daniela only care about money. Frank knew this, so he chose his money over Daniela, and hearing this, Daniela felt very bad because she thought he loved her. After that, she starts going with her husband, but she doesn't feel good with him at all because Daniela had gotten used to caring and love, which her husband didn't give her. All these things create a rift in their relationship, and they have a fight. Frustrated, her husband gives Daniela permission to go to Frank. After that, when Daniela reaches Frank's apartment, she sees him with his neighbor. Daniela ignores this and says she has started loving him too and wants to stay with him. When Frank tells her the truth that he didn't win any lottery, Daniela still says she wants to stay with him, and they become intimate. After that, one day, they threw a party at their house. Frank's college is amazed to see Daniela and starts feeling jealous. Then Daniela's husband also comes to the party and doesn't feel good seeing her with another man. Suddenly, Daniela disappears, and everyone gets worried. But Frank sees Daniela having fun with one of his college friends. Seeing this, he realizes Daniela is a street woman and always will be. He accepts this and starts living happily with Daniela, and with this, the movie ends here. So do let me know in the comments how you like this movie, and I'll see you in the next video.